Okay, so let's discuss the continuation of chapter 3, which is about gravimetry. So, in the last few sessions, what we did is yung first, inaral natin yung process of gravimetry, and we realized that there are two types of gravimetry. We have the precipitation gravimetry and the volatilization gravimetry. In your experiment, what you're actually doing is the volatilization gravimetry because you are making one of your components turn into gas phase. No? Wala, impossible yung precipitation gravimetry with home chemicals eh. Okay, so kailangan nasa lab ka talaga. But in volatilization, it's just very easy to do. No? You just need an oven. Okay? But in the laboratory, if you really want to determine the analyte, you have to do precipitation talaga. Volatilization, ginagawa din siya but not that much. Okay? So yeah. And last time we were able to do calculations in gravimetry. And again, the most important things that you have to remember is that you must establish the identity of your product and their corresponding amounts. And other than that, they should have a stoichiometric relationship with the analyte that you are looking for. And last week, ito yung mga nasagutan natin. We were able to answer the mass of iron and Fe3O4 in your iron ore. And at the same time, we were also able to answer the amount of calcium. Okay? So, yung amount ng calcium dito, nasagutan din natin siya. Okay? And then, this one, yung piperazine, nasagutan din natin siya. As you can see, gravimetry is just stoichiometry lang siya. No? Stoichiometry with extra kwento. Okay? So, yun yung mas exact description. So, ano pa yung isang application ng gravimetry? So, gravimetry, specifically precipitation gravimetry, can also be used in determining the percent composition of your mixture. Okay? So, kunwari may dalawang salt ka, tapos hindi mo ma-distinguish which one is this, no? So, you can use gravimetry with that, okay? So, for example, let's read this problem. A 0.2356 gram sample containing sodium chloride and barium chloride yielded 0.4637 grams of AgCl. Okay, and then calculate the percent of each halogen of the compound na each halogen compound in the sample. Okay, so ano nangyari? So basically, ito yung sabi nila. So you have a beaker, let's say. And in that beaker, magkahalo yung AgCl and yung barium chloride na magkahalo yung mass nila. Ano yung mass nila? I don't know. Okay? Yun yung isa-solve natin. So, may mass ng AgCl yan, which we don't know. May mass ng BaCl2 yan, which we also don't know. But ang alam natin, ang total mass nila is 0.2356. O, yun yung total. And then, ano nangyari? They were precipitated as AgCl, siguro with the help of nitric acid, no? And with the help of silver nitrate. Okay, so with the help of the silver nitrate, you know that silver causes the chlorides to precipitate, no? So they cause the chlorides to precipitate. So ano mangyayari? So lahat ng yan, regardless kung barium sila or silver, all of them will be converted into AgCl. Okay? Which has a mass of 0.4637 grams. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung AgCl from NaCl, naging AgCl. And then yung AgCl from barium chloride, naging ganun din na. So, same fate lang ang nangyari sa kanilang dalawa. So, it seems na parang ang onti ng given, no? But actually, it is possible to solve for this one using some techniques na in algebra and, of course, stoichiometry. Okay? So, how will we proceed with this type of problem? So, medyo maraming steps, okay? But let me show it to you. I'll just copy this to our whiteboard, okay? So, discard ko na yun. So, I'll copy this in my whiteboard and then let's try to answer it. By the way, kapag gravimetry, no, papansin nyo, you really have to establish a story. Okay? Kasi at least dun sa story na yun, alam mo kung ano mangyayari. Okay, so be careful ha. Okay, so tignan maigi yung ating mga details. So bale, our NaCl of a known mass, yung NaCl of a known mass, nakahalo siya with barium chloride of a known mass. Okay? And then total mass nila ay ano? 0.2356 grams. Right? And then what happened? What happened is that after adding siguro silver nitrate, after addition of silver nitrate, the masses of AgCl and barium chloride are all converted to AgCl. Okay? So yung AgCl from NaCl, okay, plus yung AgCl from barium chloride, pag pinagsama mo yung masses ng mga AgCl na ibibigay nila, ang total mass daw ay 0.4637 grams. Okay? So, ganun. Okay? So, clear ba? So, ganyan yung first kwento. Ngayon, it seems na parang it is impossible to solve for the equation, di ba? Parang it seems na ganun yung kwento. Why? You have 4 unknowns, di ba? Okay, you have 4 unknowns eh. Hindi mo alam yan, hindi mo alam yan, hindi mo alam yan, hindi mo alam yan. Okay? Pero ang question dyan, hindi mo ba talaga alam? Or may paraan? Ang sagot dyan, may paraan. Okay? Remember, rule of thumb sa algebra. Kung ilan yung equation mo, ganun karami yung unknowns na kaya sagutin. Tignan nyo, ilang equations na gawa ko. Diba, 2? So, yung isa, yung original mass nila, hindi ko alam to, hindi ko alam yun. Tapos yung total mass nila. And then yung pangalawang equation, yung na-convert na AgCl from them. So, I have 2 equations, meaning it is possible na dalawa yung missing. Diba dalawa naman talaga yung missing? Yung NaCl pati BaCl2. So, ibig sabihin, kaya talaga isolve. Etong dalawang to, I can just use stoichiometry, no? To have an idea on how much it is, no? So, again, I can use stoichiometry for them. Okay? Clear ba or may gusto i-clarify? Okay, so again, ano yung sabi ko? Reiterate ko lang para sure ako na na-relay ko talaga yung idea sa inyo. Kung ilan yung equations mo, ganun karaming unknown na pwede i-solve. Okay? I have 2 equations, meaning dalawa yung unknown na pwede ko i-solve. Sabi nino ng algebra, yan yung rule nila eh. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung mass ng NaCl and yung mass ng barium chloride, kaya ko talaga siya i-solve in theory. Yung mass ng AgCl from NaCl and yung mass ng AgCl from barium chloride, I can use stoichiometry to answer that. Okay? So, kaya ko namang gamitan ng stoich. Okay? Now, how will you begin with the solving? So, syempre, I need to establish the relationship of NaCl and this one. Okay? I need to show the stoichiometric relationship of the two. So I will let my NaCl as unknown X and barium chloride as unknown Y. Biglang ganun eh. No? Okay? Huwag kayong matakot ha. Tandaan ang gravimetry ay ano lang, stoic lang yan. Okay? Medyo maraming technique nga lang na kailangan gawin. Okay? So yan yung first kong gagawin. I will let the mass of NaCl as X, the mass of BaCl as Y. Okay? And then using X and Y, I will write an expression showing the mass of AgCl that can form from it. Na? So using X and Y, makakagawa ako ng expression. Hindi ko masosolve yung mismong mass, but I can get an expression. When I say expression, sabi ni algebra, may mga variable yun. May mga X, may mga Y. So let me show you how it is done. Okay? So let's write an expression to relate this into this. Okay? So kailangan kasi yun. I write the expression. Okay. This is X, this is Y. So how will you write the expressions needed? Okay, so ganito. So you first write the mass of AgCl from NaCl. I can do the simple stoichiometry na ginagawa natin, diba? So from mass of from mass of NaCl, convert it into mole NaCl, convert it into mole AgCl, and then you convert it into mass ng AgCl. So gagawa ka ng stoichiometry equation, okay? So you write mass of AgCl. So again, how will you convert this into an equation? So basically, ganito lang yan. So itong first arrow, that's mass over molar mass, di ba? Okay, molar mass. And then how about this one? The conversion of NaCl to AgCl. Ang titignan mo this time ay yung Cl. Okay? Yun yung common element sa kanila. Tignan mo yung ratio ng Cl nila. 1 to 1, di ba? Okay. So ilang Cl from NaCl and ilang Cl from AgCl. So tig-isa sila. So meaning tig 1 mole lang yung kanilang stoichiometric relationship. So 1 mole NaCl can give you 1 mole AgCl. Again, ano yung titignan mong element? Yung Cl. Okay? The subscript of the Cl will tell you the moles. Okay? So yun, tig-isang mole sila. And then lastly, you multiply everything by the molar mass of AgCl. Ang tanong, lahat ba yan unknown? Diba hindi? Yung mga molar masses, pwede mo kunin yan eh. Right? So, ibig sabihin, I can really write an expression out of it. Na, ang unknown ko lang ay yung NaCl. So, I will let it as X. But everything else has value. Yung molar mass ng NaCl, nasa Google lang yan. Molar mass ng AgCl, nasa Google lang yan. And then yung mga mole factors, nakuha natin from the Cl, no? The number of Cl atoms in your molecule. Okay? Ibig sabihin, pwede talaga tayo makagawa ng expression. Okay? So, hanapin ko yung molar mass ng NaCl. Google natin. NaCl. 58.44. Okay, so that's 58.44. Okay. Grams per mole yan, pero hindi ko na ilalagay yung unit for simplicity. And then 1 to 1 times the molar mass of AgCl. Okay, so that's 143.32. Okay, And then, yung mga numbers, imumultiply ko. Yung x, hahayaan ko lang na nandyan siya. Okay? So, multiply, divide ko yung numbers. Okay? Para makuha ko yung kanyang factor, yung conversion factor niya. Dito gumagana. Okay pa ba? That is 143.32 divided by 58.44. Because the rest is just 1. Now, kunin ko 4 decimal places. Ha? So, that's 2.4524. Ano yun? 2.4524. And then yung x. Okay? Kumbaga, basta alam mo yung x, ipa-plug in mo na lang dito. Makuha mo na yung mass ng AGCL. Right? Yan. So again, how come na nagkaroon tayo ng ganito? We were able to get this. Ito na naman yung nag-i-email ng catering. Anyway. So for us to get the mass of AGCL from NaCl, what we just did is simple stoichiometry lang. Okay? Nag-stoich lang tayo to see how much AGCL can theoretically form out of X mass of NaCl. So you have X mass of NaCl, ito yun, divided by the molar mass, and then multiply it by their ratio. Yung ratio nakuha natin sa subscripts ng Cl. So tig-isa lang naman sila, so 1 to 1 yung ratio nila. And then the molar mass of AGCl, ito 143. And then, yung mga numbers, pag sama-samahin, yung x, hayaan mo lang siya. So, this is the mass of AGCL from NaCl. Ito yung ilalagay natin dito. Okay? Kaya napapansin nyo sa worksheet, nakalagay dito, nakaganon siya. Okay. Yun. O, diba kanina, 4 yung unknown natin. O, ngayon, tignan mo. Yung dalawang unknown, pinagsama natin into x, no? So, hindi na sila parehas unknown. X lang yung unknown sa kanilang dalawa. And yung conversion from NaCl to AGCL, ito yung factor. Okay? Basically, whatever the x is, you just multiply it by this to get that. Okay? To get the mass of the AGCL from NaCl. Okay? Sa ganitong type ng problem, paulit-ulit lang yung ganitong process. Okay? Gagawa ka dalawang equation, then you convert this into your precipitate. Let's try the mass of AGCl from barium chloride. Okay? Same process lang din halos. So let's just copy everything. Again, paulit-ulit lang to. Once na magets mo na siya, yung solution na nasa worksheet, yun yung gagamitin nyo rin sa quiz. Okay. Paulit-ulit mo lang siya itatry. Okay. This time, barium chloride naman. So, yung NaCl palitan natin ng barium chloride. Okay. Okay, so from the mass of barium chloride, which is unknown, okay, so kanina X yan, ngayon Y. Okay. Gawin mo siyang mole ng barium chloride, and then establish their conversion using the Cl atom. Again, yung common atom yung gagamitin natin. And then eventually, you convert it into mass of AGCl. Okay. And just like earlier, gagayahin lang din natin yan. Okay. So just copy everything. Mass barium chloride, molar mass barium chloride, and then ito, stoichiometric factor. Siyempre, nasa baba yung barium chloride, nasa taas yung NaCl. AGCl. What do you think should be our factor looking at the Cl atom? Okay, just looking at the Cl atom, what do you think should be the factor? 2. Correct. Bakit 2? Kasi yung isa sa kanila may 2. Kumbaga, ang ratio nila, 2 to 1. Okay? So, 2 to 1 yung ratio nila. Ngayon, ang question dyan, sino yung may 2? Okay. Correct yung 2 kasi may 2 dun sa subscript. Pero saan mo ilalagay yung 2? Dito o dun sa taas? Yes, yun. Correct. That's 2 moles of AgCl per 1 mole of barium chloride. Okay. Bakit, sir, sa AgCl yun 2? Kasi gusto mo maging equal yung Cl eh. Diba? If you have 1 mole of barium chloride, dalawa na agad yung Cl mo. But for AgCl, you need 2 moles of that para maging dalawa din yung Cl. Okay? So again, the goal is para maging equal yung Cl nila. Yung Cl kasi focus natin. Okay? So ganun yung ginagawa natin. The reason why yung AgCl ay may 2 na coefficient is that gagawin nating same yung Cl ng AgCl and the BaCl2. Okay? When you have 2 moles of AgCl, the number of Cl is the same as 1 mole of barium chloride. Okay? Ganun lang. And then, multiply by the molar mass of AgCl. Nakapagod, no? Don't worry, sa quiz ng gravimetry, mas mahaba yung time. May ganitong question po ba? Yes. Pero second sin na, susundan na kayong worksheet eh. Basically, same process lang. Share ko na sa inyo. Alam nyo ba, nung college ako, hindi ko to magets. Kaya kung hindi nyo siya nagigets agad, I feel you. Nagets ko lang siya nung nagbo-board exam na ako. Ang daming ganito nung board exam eh. So, no choice ka kundi aralin talaga. Like, ganun pala yung ginagawa. Kasi nung tinuturo sa amin to ng teacher namin, nakatingin lang siya sa board. Kasi di kami kinukumusta. Kaya ako kinukumusta kayo. Mahirap siya kasi nung time namin, hindi sa amin in-explain, saan nanggaling po yan, sir? As in, nagugulat lang kami like, ay, may ganong number, saan galing yan? Ayun pala, stoic lang pala yun. Okay. Stoic lang pala yun. Kaya nga in-explain ko sa inyo na stoic lang siyang galing. Okay? Sabi ko kung nalaman ko to dati, baka nag-top notcher pa ako, no? Kasi hindi ko naman pinangarap maging top notcher. Kasi may license o wala. May license, top notcher o hindi. May ID ka pa rin eh. Tsaka may personal issues ako that time eh. Kaya finocus ko muna yung bago yung mahalaga pumasa naman in first take. Okay. So yan. Ganun lang, no? So ang part na hindi ko maintindihan dati nung college ako, saan ang galing to? Ito rin mismo yung problem na yun eh, kaya tinuturo ko sa inyo. Sabi ko, saan galing yun? Hindi sa amin sinabi. Yung pala, sa stoic lang pala siya galing. Okay? Convert mo yung X into mass of AgCl. Of course, you will not get the exact value. Makuha mo expression. When I say expression, may X yun. Okay? So, yung ito mga molar masses, may mga value yan. Yung X lang yung wala. Okay? At least you have an idea kung ano yung mass ng AgCl. Ganun din sa barium chloride, no? So, the mass of barium chloride is Y. Okay? I don't know the exact value. And then, the rest, Google ko na lang. Okay, so that's 208.23. Yung units, kahit wag nyo na ilagay. Magkakaintindihan naman tayo kung ano yung numbers na yan. Okay? Tapos yung mga molar mass, pagsama-samahin mo sila. Pagsama-samahin ang pare-pareho. So sa numerator, wag nyo muna pansinin yung y, just yung numbers lang. So 2 times 143.32 sa numerator. Sa denominator, you have 208.23 times 1. So yan yung ating ratio ng molar mass. 1.3766. Okay? Sulat ko, 1.3766 times y. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, whatever the mass of your barium chloride is, i-multiply mo lang siya sa 1.3766, makukuha mo na yung mass ng AgCl. Okay? So, ganun lang. Ganun din dito. Whatever the mass of NaCl is, multiply mo lang siya sa 2.45 something, makukuha mo na yung mass ng AgCl. Kung ano yung mass ng barium chloride, multiply mo sa 1.37 something, you will get the mass of AgCl. And ano gagawin? Itong x and y expressions natin, ipapasok natin dun sa equation. Okay? So, 1 point. Yan. Okay? Ganon. Kasi di ba kanina, 4 unknown, sabi ko, hindi ko alam to. Di ba sabi ko kanina yon? Hindi ko alam to, hindi ko alam to, hindi ko alam to, hindi ko alam yon. Imposible sagutan yon kapag 4 unknown. Okay? Kasi kung ilan equation mo, ganun karami pwede mo masagutan. Kaso 4 yung nawawala eh, 2 lang equation ko. So impossible. But using stoichiometry, nabawasan natin yung 4 na unknown into 2 na lang, x and y. Sila na lang yung nawawala. Okay? Yan. Ngayon, pupunta na tayo sa part ng algebra. Okay? So, tapos na tayo sa chemistry. Algebra naman. Biglang ganun. Algebra naman tayo. Okay? So, lilipat ako dito sa gilid lang. Kasi kukopyahin ko yan eh. Okay? Alam niyo kung paano ko to nag-gets? Inulit-ulit ko yung ano. Sa review center ko to na-encounter eh. Tinuro din naman to sa amin ng college. Alam niyo kasi sa chemistry, paulit-ulit lang yung question. Yung ginagawa ko. Buti na lang yung notebook ko ng college, andito pa rin. Tinignan ko, sabi ko, uy, ito yung question sa amin dati. Tapos nung nasa review center, tinanong ko talaga, paano po ulit? Ayan. Okay lang naman magtanong. So remember, we don't know everything naman. We don't have to know everything. Okay? So, ayan. So, x plus y is this, right? Okay. So, x plus y is equals to 0.2356. Okay? So, yung mass ng sodium chloride plus mass ng barium chloride equal siya sa 2356. Na? Ayun yung sinabi sa problem. Okay? 2356. Tas ngayon, ang mass ng AgCl from sodium chloride and yung mass ng AgCl from barium chloride, pag pinag-add mo daw yan, ito yung mass. Okay? So, sulat din natin. By the way, medyo lalakihan ko yung sulat ko dito. Ito din. So, kakapehin ko lang yan basically. Okay? So, 2.45. 2.45. And then, kapag pinag-add mo daw yung mga chlorides from your NaCl, barium chloride, ang total mass daw ay 0.4637 grams. Ngayon, you have two equations. Solve for x and y. Anong mathematical skill ang kailangan mo dito? Hindi mo yan ipag-add ha. Kasi pag pinag-add mo yan, wala kang makukuha. Ang tawag sa gagawin natin ay elimination. Okay? So, elimination of equation, it is one of the essential algebraic techniques that we have to employ. Pag sinabing elimination, ano yung ini-eliminate natin? Sige, ako naalala niyo pa yung high school algebra. May algebra nung junior high, pati senior high ha. So, kailangan alam niyo kung ano yung nangyayari. Ano yung ini-eliminate natin? kapag kapag nag-elimination tayo sa equation. Ang ini-eliminate natin ay yung mga similar terms. Yes, okay. So, ini-eliminate natin kung sino may similar terms. Siyempre, isa lang. Okay? Only one of the similar terms must be eliminated. Okay? Bakit? No? Kasi kapag na-eliminate natin yung isa, mas madali hanapin yung kabila. Okay? Okay? So, kunwari, eliminate ko yung y. Pag na-eliminate ko yung y, mas madali ko masosolve yung x kasi siya na lang yung natitira. Right? O kaya, pwede naman si x yung i-eliminate ko para yung y, siya na lang masolve ko muna. Okay? Okay, so isang variable lang tatanggalin natin, si x or si y. Ako gusto ko tanggalin yung mga x. Alam niyo naman, mga may sama tayo ng loob sa mga x. Tanggalin natin sa buhay si x, solve natin si y. Okay? So, yan. Pero kung gusto niyo si y, edi sige, okay lang. Basta you do your elimination well. So, sa part na to, dalawang beses ko to ituturo. One is the long method, yun yung elimination technique. Second one is the calculator technique. Okay? So, mamaya i-ready nyo yung calculator kasi pipindutin nyo lang to. Pagka-pindot nyo ng equal sign, may sagot na agad. Okay? Alam na to ng mga lecture students ko kanina. No? Sa mga lab student ko na hindi ko lecture. Kanina, sa equilibrium, nung pindot lang kami ng equal sign, may sagot na lumabas using equation function ng Excel ay ng calculator. So ngayon ituturo ko yung isa pang another technique sa calcu. Okay? So sige, gawin na natin. Eliminate ko si x kasi ayaw ko sa kanya. Mga taga UST, hindi joke. Hindi na nakipela. Sige, eliminate ko si x. Okay, yan yung target ko. Eliminate x. Okay. Kopyahin ko muna uli ha. Kopyahin ko x plus y. Ito lang medyo nakakatamad sa long method as in gagawin mo talaga yung pag-copy paste ng lahat. Okay. Paano ko may eliminate si x? Hulaan nyo. Naririnig nyo ba yung mga pusa? Umiiyak sila sa kabilang room. Ano gagawin ko para ma-eliminate ko si x? May i-multiply ba ako sa kanya? At kung may i-multiply ako, ano yun? Ano yung i-multiply ko? Hulaan. Okay, transmutation. Bago transmutation. Ayan, may i-multiply ako. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4 din. Bakit kaya yun din? Kasi kailangan yung x ko, same yung value niya. Okay? So that when I subtract them, maging 0 sila. Okay? Na-imagine ba? O hindi na-imagine, nasusulat ko. I have to make sure that yung x ko, same sila ng coefficient. Okay? Kailangan same sila ng coefficient. So that when I subtract this equation and this, magka-cancel out sila together. However, when I multiply x by 2.4524, kailangan yung buong equation multiplied by 2.4524. Okay? Kailangan yung buong equation sa taas, i-multiply ko by 2.4524. Okay? Gets yan? Para same pa rin na. Okay, so 2.4524. bakit 2.4524? Kasi yun yung coefficient ng x ko dito. Okay? So usually kung ano yung coefficient ng x mo, yun yung gagamitin mo. Okay? However, you have to multiply everything by 2.4524. This one, multiply ko rin by 2.4524. Okay? So this times this, calculate muna natin. Multiply natin yan. Okay? Again, kapag minultiply mo yung x ng 2.4524, lahat sila i-multiply mo by 2.4524. Yung nasa right side, so that's 0.2356 times 2.4524. Kokopyahin ko lahat yan. Lahat ng digits kailangan kopyahin. Okay? Ang dami. 577. 5777854. Okay? Tama ba? 44, sorry. Okay? So again, sa nakuha yung 5777854, and that is obtained by multiplying this number here by 2.4524. Bakit ko uli minultiply by 2.4524? Kasi gusto ko nga ma-cancel out si x. And when I multiply x by this, kailangan damay sila lahat. Okay? To maintain linearity of the equation. May ganun. May ganun. Tapos susunod, kita nyo, parehas na yung x, di ba? Ay, susubtract ko na yung dalawang equation. Parehas na yung x eh. Susubtract ko na lang sila. Now, ito yung mismong elimination. Okay? So, this minus this is 0. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin natanggal na talaga yung x, di ba? Kasi same sila ng coefficient. So, 2.4524 minus 2.4524, 0 na yan. So, cancelled out na si x na. Cancelled na siya. Yun. Ano yung natira? Eh di y. Hindi mas madali mag-solve na. Subtract ko lang to. Okay, na-cancel ko na yung x. O yung y naman, susubtract ko. 2.4524 minus 1.3766. 10758. Okay, 10758. Okay. Subtract ko naman yung nasa right side. Okay, so 0.5777, 8544 minus 0.4637. Ito yung pangit sa long method. Ang daming pinipindot. Kopyahin mo yan lahat. 114,085,44. Tama ba? 114,085,44. Okay? And then, ano susunod kong gagawin? O, yung y, may coefficient. Divide ko both sides by 1.0758. Okay, by dividing that by 1.0758 both sides, I will be able to solve for y. Divide ko lang, divide 1. Oopsie. Divide ko by 1.0758. Ito na yung sagot. 0.159. Nakuha ko na yung y. Ano to? Ano yung y? Diba tandaan nyo yung y? Yun ay yung ating mass ng barium chloride. Ibig sabihin, na-solve na natin yung mass ng barium chloride. Diba? Amazing. So, it seems na impossible siya, no? Kasi mixture siya eh. Right? Pero just using stoichiometry and algebra, we were able to get the mass of barium chloride, which is missing. E di yan saya, di ba? Ayan. O, paano mo kukunin yung x? Yung x, isubtract mo na lang yung mass ng y dito. You will get your x na. Di ba? Parang kang nag-magic na. Like, it seems na parang impossible siya at first. Pero, if you know your stoichiometry well, makukuha mo pala siya. Okay? O, nakuha ko na yung y. Oh, ang saya. Nakuha ko na yung barium chloride. Now, kunin ko na lang yung NaCl. Remember, yung mass ng NaCl plus barium chloride ay 2356. So, ano yung i-add ko sa 1059 para maging 2356? I-calculate natin. Kung kaya binasa nyo yung worksheet, parang may idea na kaya na. So, this is the mass of barium chloride already. Now, to solve for x, that is just your mass of the sample minus mass of barium chloride. Okay? Ano ba yung mass ng sample natin? The mass of the sample is 2356. Okay? So, that is 0. Asan yung mouse? 0.2356 minus 0.1059. Okay? Ano yung difference? 0.2356 minus 0.1059. 1297, 0.1297 grams NaCl. Ayan, what seemed impossible earlier, madali lang pala. Okay? Possible pala. As long as you know how to write the proper equation and how to do correct stoichiometry. Huwag kayo ma-intimidate sa x and y. Okay? So, this is the answer. Although nasa worksheet siya, you can screenshot this para makita nyo kung ano yung sinulat ko. So, huwag kayo ma-intimidate kapag may x and y. Okay? Because that was my problem before. Mahina ako sa math dati nung high school. Wala pang senior high school nun. Kaya, pag graduate mo ng high school, college agad. So I was very intimidated by X, Y, etc. No? However, when I went to college and then nag-chemistry ako, mas na-appreciate ko yung algebra dito kasi logic pala siya, no? May flow pala. Okay. So yun. Nagets ko lang yung math nung nag-chem ako. Siguro kung hindi ako nag-chemistry, hindi ko pa rin siya gets. Mabuti na lang nag-chem ako. So imagine na, para ka nag-magic na. Dalawa lang yung given na masses eh. Ito lang, pati ito, pero ang dami mo nakuha na data na. So, yan. That's the beauty of chemistry and mathematics. Pero hindi yan yung final answer, ha? Percent yung kailangan mo kunin, eh. Anong gagawin mo kapag percent? Divide mo lang yan by the mass of the sample. Okay? So, yung mass ng barium chloride, divide mo sa mass ng sample. Okay? So that you can get the percentage. Okay? So, kunin ko na lang yung percent na. Mabilisan lang. Okay? So, ang mass ng sample, mass ng barium chloride, 1059. Mass ng sample, 0.2356. Times 100 mo lang yan. So, ito yung percent ng barium chloride. No? So, 44.95. 44.95. And then, minus 1 mo lang. Okay, so 100 minus 1, minus the answer. You will get the percentage of sodium chloride, 55.05. Okay, so yun yung mas appropriate answer, no? May ganito sa quiz, ha, kaya importante na alam nyo yan. Okay? So ganun lang, no? So it seems intimidating at first, However, ano yung steps? Let me just recall everything. And kung may question kayo, let me know. Kailangan makagawa ka ng dalawang equation out of the problem. Okay? Kailangan yon, requirement yon. The first equation must show the sum of the masses of your original compounds, original mixture. So x plus y, ito. Okay, or the mass of your original unknown, the mass of the another original unknown, equals sa mass ng sample. Yun yung first equation mo. Then the second equation must show the conversion of NaCl to your precipitate. The conversion of your barium chloride to the precipitate. And then kapag pinag-add mo yung mga precipitate na yan, ayun yung total mass. Okay? Ayun. Hindi siya directly sasabihin. Pero kailangan alam mo, saan ba galing precipitates? E di kay NaCl at barium chloride. Then, you can let X as your unknown NaCl, Y as your unknown barium chloride. Using stoichiometry, you can convert the X and the Y into the mass of AgCl from sodium chloride and barium chloride. Madali mo mahanap yung stoich. Kasi may pattern na tayo dun, di ba? Ito na yung pattern eh. Ulit-ulitin mo lang. Ang trick lang dito is to know the proper stoichiometric factor. Ano gagawin mo? You look into the Cl. Okay? Kapag 1-to-1 yung ratio nila yan, edi okay, madali lang, no? 1-to-1 lang yung kanilang ratio. Pero kunwari may subscript yung Cl, let's say 2, edi yung isa, kailangan may multiply mo sa 2. Hindi siya, ha? Yung kabilang molecule. Okay? Ano ba yung goal ng stoichiometric coefficient? The goal is to make the atoms balance. And ang binabalance natin ay yung chloride ions. Kasi yun yung focus natin. And then nakagawa tayo ng expression. Natandaan, expression ang tawag sa mga to. So we did not get the exact mass of the precipitate. Rather, we got an expression showing the mass of the precipitate. And then, ginawa natin, yung mga expressions na yan, plinagin natin sa second equation. And using elimination technique and algebra, we were able to get one variable, and then the other variable can be easily obtained by subtracting the known variable na from the mass of the sample. And kapag percent by mass ang hinahanap, edi divide mo lang sila lahat sa mass ng sample. Okay, that's the long method. Now, let me show you the short method. The short method is not here, no? Wala dyan. Kasi ito as is yan eh. Stoichiometry talaga yan. There's no shortcut in stoichiometry. The shortcut that I will teach you is this one. Suppose nagmamadali na kayo, nagawa mo na yung equations. How will you type it in your calculator? How will you let your calculator do the work? Madali lang. Okay? Buksan natin ang ating calculator. Sabay na pagbukas ng calculator. Ayan. Kita ko ito. Ayan. I-pop up display ko. Okay? So that you will see it bigger. Okay? Yung class quiz, wait lang kaya. Dito yan. Okay. Sa mga gumagamit ng 991, 570, and yung calculator software, pindutin natin ang mode. And then that will be followed by the equation function, the EQN. Diba last time stat, ngayon EQN na. Equation. And then what's next? Diba you have your A and X, B and Y equals Cn. Yan yung kukunin natin. Kasi we have two unknowns eh. The X, the Y. Two unknowns. Select natin yung A. Bago ako mag-proceed dyan, pag nakita nyo na to sa Calcu, wait lang kaya. Tuturuan ko yung nagka-class quiz. Okay? Off ko yung sharing muna. Okay, so sa gumagamit ng class quiz, This is your calculator. Pindutin nyo yung mode. Okay? And then pag pinindot nyo yung mode, masyado siyang maraming pakulo. No? May mga pictures. Press nyo lang yung down button twice until you see itong logo na yan, yung xy equals 0. Okay? That's the equation. Okay? So that's the equation. I don't know if clear sa inyo. Then press equal sign. Then pag naselect nyo na yung equation, you are given two options. Simultaneous equation and polynomial. Yung polynomial, magagamit nyo yan sa istable sa equilibrium. Yan yung ginamit namin sa lecture kanina. Pero in this case, sa gravimetry, we will use the simultaneous equation instead. Okay, so let's press simultaneous equation. Upon pressing simultaneous equation, you are given this question. Number of unknowns. Eh, di ba dalawa yung unknowns natin? So you press 2. Okay? And you will be given a similar image as shown earlier. May column for A and B and then C. Okay? So starting this point, pare-parehas na tayo ng makikita sa screen. Sino na yung nakita na yung ABC? Press like button. Press nyo yung like button kapag nakita nyo na yung ABC. Okay, si Renz, kita na. Kayla, Kisha, okay. How about the others? Okay naman kayo dyan. Okay, sige. Once you see this image, ano na gagawin mo? Just remember, yung A, it is the coefficient of your x. Okay? The A is your coefficient of x. Okay? So let's refer to this original equation. So what is the coefficient of my x sa first equation? Syempre, 1. Okay? So I'll type 1. Ito yun na. I'm referring to this equation on top. So 1 yung coefficient ng x. Yung B, coefficient ng y. So still 1. Okay? And then for the C, that is your nasa equal sign. Okay? In our case, that's 0.2356. Okay? And then press equal sign. Upon pressing equal sign, you will be brought down sa second equation. Okay, let's recap. On the first equation, that is the simple x plus y equals 2356. So ang coefficient ng x and y ay 1 and 1. Okay? Then ngayon, punta tayo sa baba. Okay? In the denominator, you can see that as we did our stoichiometry, nagkaroon ng coefficient yung x and y. Okay? Sa x, that's 24524. So yun yung lalagay mo sa A. So 2.4524. Okay? Then you press equal sign. Ngayon, coefficient ng y, yung B. So you type in 13766. And similarly, yung nasa right side, yung letter C, 0.4637. Okay? Mag-thumbs up ang tapos na. So class quiz and yun nasa calculator. Thumbs up kapag finish na. Hopefully yung iba nakakasabay ha. I'm seeing only few people na nagta-thumbs up. Okay? So, ano na gagawin natin? You press equal sign. Press mo equal sign. It will give you the value of x and the y. Okay, press equal sign. X is 1296. Di ba yun yung na-solve natin? 1296. O dito 7. Kasi nag-round off tayo kanina. Remember? Diba? Amazing na. Kanina, nag-eliminate ka pa. Ngayon, pwede mo naman pala i-calculate. So, 1296. Dito, naging 1297 because we rounded off earlier. Okay? Ito, ni-round off natin to right? So, yun yung, mass ng NaCl. Because remember, X is your NaCl. Press the equal sign again. You will get the mass of the barium chloride. Okay, 1060. Okay. Medyo different lang result because ito, yung calculator, hindi talaga siya nag-round off na. Ganun din sa class quiz, no? Same answer lang. Okay, gets. Ganun lang na. Ang daming pwede gawin ng calculator, no? Basta alam mo lang kung ano pipindutin mo. So in gravimetric problems like this, yung mga salt mixture, yun yung tawag namin dito, salt mixture problem, yung paggawa ng equation, yun yung medyo tedious part. Kasi stoichiometry talaga yun. However, when it comes to the algebraic part, you can just type it in your calculator, then press equal sign. You will get the correct answer. So, alam nyo na yung gagawin nyo sa quiz. Mag-stoic lang kayo sa una. Kunwari, kailangan ng solution, edi ipakita nyo lang yung stoic. Then, itong algebra, kahit yung calcu na bahala. Sabihin nyo na lang kung kinalculator nyo. Okay? Okay, lagay nyo sa sulat papel. Sulat sa papel nyo. Lagay nyo, using calculator. Tapos pakita nyo yung x and y value na lang. Okay? So again, mukha siya mahirap na. Pero madali lang. Basta alam mo yung flow. Gagawa kang equation. Yun yung first equation. And then second equation, convert them into the precipitates. And then yung corresponding total mass nila. And then, para makuha mo yung kanilang expressions, again, expression tawag natin dyan, you convert X to mass of AgCl. So you will not get the exact mass, but you will get an expression. Ganon din dito sa baba, okay, kay barium chloride. And then yung expressions na yun, i-plug in mo sa second equation. Then you have your two unknowns. Pag ibang problem, di na uli gets. Madali lang yan. Kuha tayo isa pang problem. Same lang yung process niya. Okay? Last problem. Then yung iba kayo na bahala umintindi. Pinahirapan na yun. Kaya nyo yan? Kayo pa ba? Nag-gets nyo nga agad di ba? Marami naman tayong questions. Ito na lang. This will be the next one. Ng ALQ3. Screenshot ko na lang ha. By the way, lunchtime na. So kung nagugutom kayo, kain lang kayo. Medyo malabo nga lang. Malayo yung aking text. Basahin natin. Feeling ko next meeting, may tatawagin na lang ako na tagabasa. Okay, first reader natin. Minsan tinatamad na ako magbasa eh. Okay. Yun lang gagawin niya, tagabasa. Basahin natin, ako muna. A mixture of these 8-hydroxyquinoline complex of aluminum and magnesium weighed 1.08 43 grams. When ignited in a furnace open to the air, the mixture decomposed, leaving a residue of aluminum oxide and magnesium oxide weighing 0.1344 grams. Find the percent weight of aluminum quinoline in the original mixture. Ano nangyari? Basically, you have your aluminum and magnesium quinoline complex. Yan yun, AlQ3. And then, after heating, they were decomposed to their oxide form. Parang ito lang din yun. Parang ito lang din yun. You have a mixture of NaCl, barium chloride, but this time, aluminum and magnesium quinoline. And then after igniting them, you get aluminum oxide and magnesium oxide. Okay. Baka isipin nyo, sir, dalawa yung products. Okay lang. Okay lang. Don't have to worry. Okay, let me demonstrate it. Okay, baka isipin nyo, sir, ibang problem to kasi magkaiba yung product eh. Kanina iisa lang eh. Same lang yung process. Okay, same lang. Kaya you really don't have to worry. Same lang yung process. Okay, ano gagawin ko? Edi yung mass ng given muna. Okay. Let me just write equation 1. Okay, so the equation 1 is just the mass of AlQ3 and MgQ2. Okay, so AlQ3. Okay, the mass of AlQ3 and the mass of MgQ2. And yung total mass nila ay 1.0843 grams. Mag-let ka na ng unknown variable. Gawin natin tong x, gawin natin tong y. And then what happened? No? Equation 2. So upon heating, your aluminum 8-hydroxyquinoline precipitate decomposed as aluminum oxide. Same with magnesium quinoline complex, it was converted into magnesium oxide. And the total mass of the residue or the precipitate, residue pala yung mas proper na term. Kasi ito yung precipitate. Ito yung residue after heating. And the total mass of residue is 0.1344 grams. Diba parang same lang din? Ano sa tingin nyo gagawin natin? Iiyak? Pwede. Madali lang. So we have to convert the masses of these two compounds into aluminum hydroxide and magnesium oxide. Aluminum oxide and magnesium oxide. How will we do it? Stoichiometry. Will we be able to get the correct answer? Not really. Okay. Pero makuha natin ay expression. Okay. Tandaan yung keyword of the day, expression. Okay. Kunin natin yung expression for the mass of aluminum oxide. Lucky for us yung mga molar masses given na. Lucky pa ba tayo? Pinapahirapan na nga tayo ni Sir Jim. Okay. Ano na? Mass of aluminum oxide from AlQ3. Okay, let's try to get that. Okay, so ano yung Stoic equation natin? Stoic equation is yung process, no? So have your mass AlQ3, convert it into mole AlQ3, then yung mole ng AlQ3 gawin mong mole ng Al2O3, And then yung mole, gawin mong mass EL2O3. Okay? In equation form, it looks like this. Okay, so that's mass of AlQ3 divided by the molar mass AlQ3. By the way, kung nakikita nyo, parang kakaiba yung nasa worksheet. Oo. Alam ko ang ginawa ko dito yung ano eh. Ay, hindi, yun din pala. Okay. So, from aluminum oxide to quinoline. Pwede rin yung baliktad, no? Okay. Kunwari, ito to this, ito to that. Pwede rin. Pero mas okay na yung pababa para mas may flow tayo. Okay, so yan yung mass ng AlQ3 divided by molar mass AlQ3. And then yung conversion, of course, AlQ3 sa baba, aluminum oxide sa taas, and then the molar mass of aluminum oxide. Ito ang katanungan. Ano ang coefficients? What do you think? Bukod sa nakalagay sa worksheet. Ang titignan natin dito ay ang aluminum, okay? Kasi yun yung common na atom aluminum. So look at the subscripts of aluminum. And by looking at the subscript, tell me what should be the stoichiometric factor. Naantok talaga ako. Okay, 1/2. So 1 nasa taas, 2 sa baba. Okay. So actually, ito siya. Okay, so 1 mole of aluminum oxide will give you 2 moles of AlQ3. Okay? So, bakit ganun na? So, bakit 1/2? Kasi, ang goal natin is maging same yung number of aluminum. Okay? So, 2 times 1 is 2 aluminum na sa numerator. So, sa denominator, you have 1 aluminum lang eh. So, 1 times 2 will give you 2 aluminum sa denominator. Okay? So, yun. Yun yung kailangan careful tayo. Basta ang goal is to make the atoms the same. Okay? So, dito, dalawang aluminum sa numerator because you have the subscript times the coefficient, so 2. So, sa denominator, dapat ganun din. So, what you will multiply sa 1 para maging 2, edi 2. So, you obtain the correct factor. Okay, yan na yan. And then, apply, type in the masses. Okay? Ano yung mass ng AlQ3? I don't know. And okay lang yan. It's okay if you don't know. Pero baka mamaya ilagay niya yun sa quiz, ha? Sir, I don't know and it's okay. Hindi pwede, tinuro ko na eh. The molar mass of aluminum quinoline is 45943. And then yung stoic factor 1/2, and then molar mass of aluminum oxide 10196. Okay, that will give me an expression equal to disregard mo muna yung x, iya mo siya. Okay. By the way, para mawala to, for everyone, press shift, then press 9, clear, and then clear all, press 3, then equal sign, so that you will be back. Again, don't mind the x muna, just multiply all the numbers in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so 45943 times 2. Oopsie. 196, 459, 43, 2. Okay. So I will round it off to 4 decimal places muna. 1110. Okay, so 0.1110. So 1110. Okay, ganun lang. And then we can do the same for magnesium oxide. Again, same process. Paulit-ulit lang talaga yung stoic dito. Ito lang yung crucial. Yung stoic factor. Kailangan maging maingat. Magnesium oxide from magnesium quinoline. Okay? So same process, mass of magnesium quinoline, mole of magnesium quinoline, then mole of magnesium oxide, and then eventually mass of magnesium oxide. Okay, just write the equation just like earlier. Okay, so feeling ko pag na-master nyo to, kahit tulog kayo, masasagutan nyo siya. So mass of magnesium quinoline, molar mass of magnesium quinoline, and then the stoic factor, mole, another mole, okay, and mgq2, molar mass, mg. Ano yung stoic factor natin? What is our stoic factor? Looking at the formula, what is the stoichiometric factor of magnesium quinoline and magnesium oxide? It is 1/1. Correct. Tama yan. Anong atom na titignan natin? Yung magnesium naman this time. Okay? Kanina aluminum, ngayon magnesium naman. Kasi yun yung common sa kanilang dalawa. Okay? MgQ2 yun ha. Ayan, MgQ2. So isang magnesium and then pagdating sa product, isa pa rin magnesium. Okay? Can you give me the expression? Itong, ayan. Tignan ko lang muna yung cats. So, can you give me the expression for X, for the Y? Sige. Type nyo na lang sa chat box yung mismong answer. Ito yung mga molar mass kung gusto nyo ng guidance. Kaso ang layo. Okay, so yun yung molar mass ng MgQ2. Ito yung molar mass ng MgO. Ayan. Ito yung molar mass. Okay? Type nyo na lang yung ano ha. Yan. Type nyo yung mismong expression. Tignan ko lang yung mga post. Okay. So, ang sagot ay, hindi ko pa nata-type. Okay. Let me just write. So, this is why I don't know what that is. Okay. For the quinoline, that is, 31261. Okay. And then yung 1:1, and then the molar mass of magnesium oxide, that's 4304. Yan. Okay. Pindutin ko sa Calcu. Let me just verify. Okay, 4 decimal places. 1289. Okay, so yeah, you're correct. 1289 Y. Gawin natin colored yung Y. Okay. O, diba? Same process lang. Using your Calcu, try to solve for X and Y. Okay. Bago ko ibigay sa inyo, ibalik natin yung dito. So the expression for aluminum oxide is this, na? So it is 0.1110x, and then for the Y, for the magnesium oxide, 0.1289y. Okay, kinopya ko lang ha. Screenshot nyo muna kung gusto nyo makita ito. Okay. Okay. Feel ko nakapag-screenshot na kayo. So try to solve the X and Y using the calculator technique. Cut reveal. Nasa kapila sila eh. Ang dami na namin pusa dito. Papaano na? Spay neuter. Papakapon. Kasi mahal eh. Using your calculator, what is the value of X and Y? Okay, may same answers from Kyla and Christine, same. Okay. Type ko na sa Calcu ko ha. Okay. So let me just zoom this out para may space. Ayan. Basta alam nyo magawa ng stoic, madali na lang siya. So go to mode, equation, 1. For those using Glasswiz, iba yung step sa inyo, pero eventually you will end up here. So the coefficient of X and Y are 1. Yan yung initial mo. 1843. Oopsie. Oopsie, lolo. Mali. Paano ko ba i-edit to? Zero. 0843. Ayun na, pwede pala. 0.111. 9 ba to? 9. Okay, so 1843. Okay. Let's press equal sign. First X is 0.2998. Okay, and then the Y is 7845 grams. Amazing. Right? Imagine mo out of nowhere may mga ganyan sagot na. Alam nyo ba, kapag nasagutan nyo yan, mas advanced pa kayo sa BS Chem. Kasi alam nyo kung bakit. Tinuturo namin to sa BS Chem kapag second year na sila. Di ba first year pa lang kayo? May advantage kayo. Okay. So ALQ3, 2998. Ito yung mass niya, 0.2998. And then for the Y, 7845. Syempre, percent ang hinahanap. Okay, so balik ulit tayo sa original. percent hinahanap. So, anong percent ng aluminum in the original mixture? So, that's the mass of, aluminum quinoline, 2998 divided by the mass of the sample, which is 10843. Times 100 para maging percent. So, that is 27.65%. Okay? The answer is 27.65%. Easy. Easy lang. Okay. If you want to get the MGQ3, just subtract that from 100%. Okay? Di ba? Super easy. We don't need to, parang walang kapawis-pawis pag nagsagot. The only part na medyo mag-iisip ka talaga would be this one, the stoic. But once you have the equation set up correctly, then you're actually good to go na. Okay? So yan. Yan yung isa sa mga mahirap, pero given na nasusundan nyo, great. That's great. Okay? Punta na tayo sa PowerPoint ulit. Okay. Do you have any questions? By the way, kung gutom na kayo, kumain lang kayo ha. Because I think I'm going to consume the entire session. Okay, so we still have lots of things to talk about there. Okay, so it seems na okay naman. That's good. Now, let's talk about the applications of gravimetry. Actually, nakukwento ko na nga ito eh. So, gravimetric method of analysis is one of the best and one of the most reliable techniques in chemistry. Why? Because you only need to get the mass. No? So, it is very simple, very cheap to do. Okay, and the results are often correct. No? Often correct, especially if tama yung processing mo ng sample. Okay. Also, they do not require calibration or standardization, unlike in titration, in spectrophotometric, in chromatography. Yun kasi may mga calibration and standardization. Okay? So, ibig sabihin sa gravimetry, basta maghalo ka lang ng chemicals, precipitate mo, tuyuin mo, may sagot ka na sa problem mo. Okay? In titration kasi may standardization pa ng titrant, no? In electrochemistry, you calibrate your instrument pa, your pH meter, calibration yon. In chromatography, ganun din. May standardization and calibration din. UVVs, lalo na doon, may standardization and calibration din. Okay? So, gravimetric is one of the best. No? And it is commonly used in determining the inorganic anions and cations. No? Okay? So, such as, chlorides determination. You want to determine the calcium, you precipitate as oxalate. You want to determine the chlorides, you precipitate it as silver. You want to determine the lead content, you use sulfur, sulfide ion. Ano pa ba? You want to determine the magnesium, or you precipitate it as hydroxide. Ay, soluble pala yan. Oxalate, pwede rin ata. Okay? So, just use the solubility rule lang. Okay? However, there are some organic compounds that can be also quantified by gravimetry. Okay? Although, hindi siya common. Why? Because the tendency of organic compound is that they decompose at higher temperature. So, they are kind of unstable. Okay? In higher temperature. But there are some daw na pwede aralin. Okay? I never encountered organic compounds analyzed using gravimetry. But in case na meron kayong prob set na, sa prob set 1, in case na ganun yung method nyo, at least makikita nyo na ay, ganun pala yung ginawa. Okay? That's just gravimetry. So, what are our precipitating agents? So again, precipitating agents causes your compounds to be in its solid form, no? And commonly, the precipitates are hydrous oxides, no, of your analyte. For example, iron hydroxide, no? So that's a precipitate, no? Okay, aluminum hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. So those are the precipitates, no? And you can dry them to convert it into their oxide form. Okay, and inorganic compounds are usually not very selective, as you can see in the solubility rules, no? So kunwari, let's say silver, it can precipitate not only the chloride ions, it can also precipitate bromide, iodide. So ibig sabihin, if you have a mixture, then it's kind of not good. Okay, so let's say may chloride bromide sa iyong sample. You cannot just use silver. Okay, so you want to use something that is more specific. And commonly, those specific ions are organic compounds, such as yung described natin earlier, the hydroxyquinoline. Okay, so hydroxyquinoline are known to complex only with magnesium and aluminum. Dimethylglyoxime, ito ay ginagamit naman in precipitating out your nickel. And kulay green siya, cute siya. Naalala ko to nung experiment namin. Ito may question. Sir, for clarification lang po dun sa solubility table, need po ba siya i-mix sa compound that won't dissolve it para mag-precipitate? Yeah, tama. Tama yung nasa isip mo. Kunwari, you want to determine the chlorides from salt, edi precipitate mo siya using silver chloride. Silver nitrate para ma-form yung silver chloride. Okay, so, correct naman. Okay? So again, inorganic compounds such as silver ions, sulfide anions, they are not selective because they can precipitate too many analyte at once. So that's why we use some organic compounds such as yung hydroxyquinoline as shown in the previous problem we answered. It can precipitate out aluminum and magnesium. Dimethylglyoxime is specific for nickel and it is color green if I'm not mistaken. Kasi naalala ko cute yung pagka-green niya eh. I think dahil dito sa dimethylglyoxime nagustuhan ko yung color na green. Yan. Okay, so yun lang. So those are some of the examples. So, basically yun yung precipitation gravimetry. Although we answered some volatilization gravimetry methods na. So now, let's focus more on the volatilization method. Okay. Kailan ginagamit ang volatilization method? Okay, and actually this is your experiment. Okay. In the volatilization method, you will just decompose your substance into products and yung amount ng products na makukuha mo, you can use that to determine kung ano yung iyong chemical formula or the purity of your sample. Okay, the reason why it is not so commonly used is that look at the style of the apparatus. No? Tignan mo. So look at this. No? It seems na it's complicated than precipitation gravimetry because in precipitation gravimetry, you just need a beaker, Bunsen burner, initin mo lang, may crucible ka, may oven ka, you're good to go. No? May desiccator, diba? Madali lang. But in volatilization method, there's a lot of things that you have to purchase. No? Okay? Pero ang overall idea niyan is that, let's say if you have an organic compound, you know that organic compound decomposes into simpler molecules. No? Let's say combustion of glucose. Okay, so C6H12O6. If you react it with oxygen in the air in the presence of heat, okay, ano mangyayari? It will be converted into CO2 and H2O. Okay? So yan. Now, in order for you to determine the formula, you must first know the amounts of CO2 and H2O. No? So, kailangan i-measure mo yung dalawang gases. No? So, in our experiment, yung water lang yung kinukuha natin. But in the actual volatilization method, it is not only the CO2 that is being determined, you also determine the other gases such as carbon dioxide. So, basically, pag nag-evaporate yan into CO2 and H2O, the air will pass through this electric oven to further volatilize it completely to make sure that it is in the gas form. And then it will pass through several filters. Okay, so the first filter will contain tetraphosphorus decaoxide, okay, or magnesium chlorate perchlorate. Okay, that those compounds will actually trap your water molecules. And then the other molecules, such as the CO2, that will be evolved in the process, it will pass through another filter containing ascarite, okay, which is the sodium hydroxide in silica. And then as it passes through here, uh, matatrap yung CO2. Okay? And then whatever is remained, lalabas na lang. Okay? So, ganun. So, basically, the combustion products will pass through two filters. And then, ano ginagawa nila? Ang ginagawa is this, no? So, they get the initial mass of the trap. Okay? And then, the final mass of the trap is also determined, no? Usually, the final mass of the trap increases, and that increase in mass corresponds to the amount of water trapped in this portion. So, ganun din dito. Ang mass final ay tumataas, and that change in mass corresponds to the mass of carbon dioxide that is trapped by the apparatus. Okay? And using stoichiometry na naman, using stoichiometry uli, you can actually determine the empirical formula of your compound. Okay? I think nagawa nyo na to nung high school, but I know na nakalimutan nyo na, so ulitin uli natin siya. So this is the traditional way of volatilization. No? So it can only determine the carbon and the hydrogen of your compound. But there are more modern instruments, okay, such as the CHNS combustion analyzer. It cannot hindi lang C and H yung nade-determine niya, no? It can also determine the number of nitrogen and the sulfur in your compounds. So commonly, the carbon can be measured by the mass of the carbon dioxide. The hydrogen can be measured by the mass of the the water. The nitrogen can be determined by the mass of nitrogen gas. And lastly, the sulfur can be determined by the mass of sulfur dioxide. And this is common in protein characterization. Why? Because protein is made of these compounds, no? So CHN is the so CHN is the parang base structure to ng protein. Okay? And then yung sulfur, it exists in some proteins such as cysteine and methionine. Okay? So sila may mga sulfur containing proteins. Amino acid rather. Okay? So pwede ito gamitin sa protein characterization for them to determine the molar mass or the formula of your protein. Pero hindi lang naman yun yung technique. Marami pa, of course. If you want to do spectroscopic analysis of protein, yun, pwede mo rin malaman yung kanyang formula. Okay? Don't worry, once we go to the final period, malalaman nyo yung mga pwede gamitin nyo for thesis. No? So, tuturuan namin kayo ng basic idea kung ano yung mga instruments na pwede gamitin. Let's say you want to study proteins. No? Okay, bibigyan namin kayo idea about UV-Vis, about chromatography. No? Kung gusto yung mag-natural products, edi chromatography din. And then, pwede rin yung nuclear magnetic resonance. Okay, so basta tuturo namin yan. Para hindi lang kayo may alam sa Anachem, you also know how to do research. So that pag nag face-to-face, magulat sila, alam nyo na yung mga ganung bagay. Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, yan yung typical instrument. Okay? This one is very expensive. I think meron nito sa Lasal. Although di ko pa yan na-try. Kasi online classes. Ito, luma na yan eh. Sa FEU walang ganito, no? Kasi wala naman tayong BS Chem. Dati merong BS Chem pero nawala siya. And there are plans to revive it. Sana nga ma-revive. Para sila naman yung papahirapan ko. Anyway, mahalaga natututo sila. Okay. Last part na tayo ng ating calculation na. So, anong gagawin natin? So, I have several problems here and in here and in the worksheet na about the empirical formula. Okay? So basically, it's under volatilization method. Okay? So, pipili na lang ako ng isang item siguro. Kasi alam ko na alala nyo na to sa... Feeling ko lang, may idea na kayo noong senior high school and junior high school kasi tinuturo to nung junior high. Okay. Nung junior high ako, favorite ko to eh. Kaya wala pa lang junior senior sa amin dati. Okay. Turuan ko kayo ng isang item lang. So, I will cherry pick one problem that is more complete. Okay. Okay, so ito na lang. Ito kasi mas kompleto to eh. Kasi yung itong mga problems na nasa PowerPoint, carbon and hydrogen lang. So what if may oxygen? So I will teach you how. Okay, using the problem that I picked. Okay. So you might have read the explanation in the worksheet, but it is my task to clarify them for you. Sa susunod na meeting, meron na tayong tagabasa. May first reader, second reader. Para naman para hindi na ako napapagod. Okay. So let's read this. A 12.1 gram of methyl tert-butyl ether compound, which contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, was burned in an apparatus, okay, probably on CHNS analyzer, and 302 grams of CO2 and 14.8 grams of water are formed. What is the empirical formula of the compound? If you can still recall your organic chemistry, ang dali sagutan nito. Madali lang siya sagutan. Kasi alam mo, ether, may oxygen sa gitna. You have a methyl, and then you tert-butyl. Okay. So, alam mo na yung mga, alam mo na yung number of atoms. So, C1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. H3, 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay. So, yan yung kanyang formula. Okay. So, methyl tert-butyl ether. Okay. Dali lang na. Kung alam mo yung orgchem, pero kunwari walang sinabi na compound, edi sige, we have no choice but to actually use the data. Okay. So, what are we going to do? Madali lang siya. So, let's make stoichiometric equation. Let's write an equation, okay, or showing the chemical reaction. So, this is your organic compound. And as you can see in the apparatus, required na may oxygen source, diba? And then, from that oxygen source, you combust it to produce CO2 and H2O. And I said earlier that the mass of the CO2 can give us the number of carbon atoms in your formula, and the mass of water can help you determine the mass of hydrogen atoms. Why do you think the mass of oxygen cannot be directly obtained? Kasi una, sagutin ko na rin. Kasi una, we don't have a trap for oxygen. We only have a trap for CO2 and H2O. So meaning sila lang talaga yung ma-measure natin. Okay? At the same time, the amount of oxygen is variable. Why? Because they were oxygen source eh. Okay, so ibig sabihin, you really cannot directly measure the oxygen atoms na. Hindi mo siya directly ma-measure. So, paano ko sir malalaman yung oxygen, no? You may ask. Kasi madali lang carbon hydrogen. Your CO2 convert mo sa carbon, H2O convert mo sa hydrogen. But how about the oxygen? Gagawa na lang natin ng paraan, which I will show you maya-maya, okay? So yung oxygen ginagawa ng paraan. Why? We cannot really directly measure it because you have your oxygen source here. Okay, so if you trap your oxygen atoms, then the results will be very inaccurate. Okay, so ayun yung gagawin niya, no? So you have to determine, okay, ito yung step 1 parate. You have to determine the masses of element, na. Okay, so yung carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So yan yung first task niya. And how will you do it? Stoichiometry. So yan, sa stoich lang. So what's the scheme? So you have your mass of your compound. Okay, yung compound natin, I'm referring to CO2 and H2O. Okay? Convert it to mole of the compound, CO2, H2O. Then convert it to your mole of the element. And actually, pwede ka na dyan mag-stop sa mole ng element. Okay? Yung nilagay ko sa worksheet, diretso siya sa mass. Okay. Kailangan din pala natin yung mass, sorry. Pero pwede na rin yung mole ng element mismo. Okay. Especially kapag carbon, hydrogen lang yan. But since we need oxygen, we need the mass of the element. Okay. So, we have 3 elements to determine. How will we solve for them? Madali lang. So, mass ng carbon. So, your compound to determine the carbon is CO2. So, all you have to do is this. So, get your mass of the carbon dioxide divided by the molar mass of carbon dioxide. So, you get your mole of the carbon dioxide. Then you multiply it by the conversion of your compound to the element. So from CO2 to carbon. Nasa baba si CO2, nasa taas si carbon. And just like what we are doing earlier, we have to determine the coefficients for carbon and carbon dioxide. What do you think is the coefficients? Are the coefficients of C and CO2? Ano kaya yung coefficient nila dapat? 1 to 1. Okay, 1 to 1 lang because we have 1 atom of carbon for every mole of carbon dioxide. Okay, so 1 to 1 lang sila. And then the molar mass of your element, which is carbon. Ito yung kagandahan dito. Fix na to. Okay, fix na lahat. Ano na lang ipa-plug in mo? Mass ng CO2. Okay, so whenever you encounter problem like this, gumawa na kayo ng kodigo with this equation. Kasi ang papalitan mo lang ay yung mass ng CO2 depending on the given. Okay? So, fix na yan. Ako nung tinuturo ko to sa senior high, sabi ko, gumawa na kayong kodigo. Palitan nyo lang yan. Ginawa naman nila. Okay naman. Ang dami naman nila nakasagot na tama. Okay? Magkakamali ka lang kapag nagkamali ka ng conversion ng mass. Kunwari, milligram yung given, tapos inisip mo, ay grams yan. So, hindi mo kinonvert. So, mamamali ka, to be honest. Okay? Pero kapag grams naman yung given, you can directly calculate it. Okay? The problem. What's the mass of CO2? So, according to the problem, we have 30.2 grams of carbon dioxide. Okay, so 30.2 grams of carbon dioxide. The molar mass of carbon dioxide is also fixed, kaya when you are writing your kodigo, okay lang. By the way, kahit face-to-face na nagpapakodigo din ako. Index card. Kung maging student ko uli kayo sa face-to-face sa August, sana face-to-face na. Ganun. Pero ang last chemistry nyo is biochem, di ba? I don't know if makakapagturo ako ng biochem. Okay, times 1 over 1. And then the molar mass of carbon, of course, 12,011. Okay? Ayan. So, ganun lang ka-simple. Solve natin yung mass ng carbon. So, it's 30.02 12,011 divided by 44.01. So, let's round it off to 4 decimal places. 82420. Okay? Sorry, it's not CO2 anymore. It's the mass of carbon. Okay? Let's do hydrogen naman. Okay? So, paulit-ulit lang yan. So, same process lang. So, for the mass of the hydrogen, by the way, kain kayo habang nagsasalita ako, ha? Okay, so for the mass of the hydrogen, the compound that we will use to get the hydrogen is water. So, MH2O divided by the molar mass, H2O, and then the stoichiometric factor of H2O and hydrogen atom times the molar mass of hydrogen. And now, another question. What do you think should be our stoichiometric factor? What's the stoichiometric factor between hydrogen and water? Okay, so 2 over 1. Okay, tama yan. Yung ginagawa natin kanina, yung pa rin yung ginagawa natin ngayon. Okay? So, yeah, that is correct. So, 2 over 1. Why 2 over 1? Kasi, if you have 1 mole of hydrogen, if you have 1 mole of water, di ba, remember, for every molecule of water, you have 2 atoms of hydrogen. So, meaning, if you have 1 mole of water, you have 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. Okay? Dahil yun sa subscript. Okay? So, ganun lang. So, you have 1 hydrogen here times 2 equals 2 hydrogen. Same lang dito. If you have 1 mole times 2 hydrogen atoms, so still 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay? The goal is to make the number of atoms equal for the numerator and the denominator. Okay? And then we can proceed. Okay, so 14.8 grams ang water. And then the molar mass of water is 18.015. Nakakabisado mo na lang yung molar mass. Then the molar mass of hydrogen is 1.008. Using CalQ, I can get the mass of the hydrogen atoms times 2 times 1.008 divided by 18.015. So this is the mass of hydrogen atoms, but I will round it off to 4 decimal places. No? So it's 16562. Okay, so that is the mass of your carbon and the mass of your hydrogen. Pero di ba tatlo yung element? Okay. Kapag dalawang element lang, okay na yan. Stop ka na dyan. Pero kung tatlo yung element na gusto natin eh. Okay. And that's the reason why I picked this question. Kasi other than answering carbon and hydrogen, we also get to know how to solve for the oxygen. So, what do you think? What should we do to get the mass of the hydrogen? Of the oxygen. Do you have any idea? Especially those who read the worksheet, may sagot na sila. But what do you think should I do? Suppose that you have not answered the worksheet. You have not read the worksheet. Kunwari lang. Given na yung mass ng carbon, given na yung mass ng oxygen, paano yung mass ng oxygen? subtract from ano? Ayun. So, tama. No? Always remember, no, that the mass of your sample is just the mass of all the elements in it. No? So, ibig sabihin, in our body mass is just the sum of all the elements in here. So, ako, around nag 60 kilograms na ako. Salamat sa Diyos. Yun yung target ko eh. Tapos pag medyo tumaba na ako, magpapalaki na ako ng muscles. Anyway, so yung 60 kilograms ko na body mass, so portion doon, elements doon. Now, let's say, sabihin natin, ang hydrogen sa katawan ko, 30 kilograms, no? Tapos yung oxygen, let's say mga 10 kilograms, and then the other elements, some other kilograms, no? So, ganun din dito sa compound, no? That's the that's the law of conservation of mass, no? So, the total mass of your system is the sum of the individual masses of your elements, no? So, yun. So, law of conservation of mass. Yeah. Meaning, we can determine the mass of element C, the element oxygen, from the sample mass, 12.1 grams. Okay? So, ganun parati ginagawa kay oxygen. Okay? So, you cannot solve it using stoic. Rather, you can just simply subtract it from your sample mass. Okay? Mass of oxygen is equal to the mass of your sample minus the mass of your carbon and the mass of your hydrogen. So basically, this is the equation. You deduct the masses of carbon and hydrogen from your sample para makuha mo yung oxygen. Our sample is 12.1 gram, and the carbon and hydrogen's mass are, okay, for carbon, that is 82420. For hydrogen, that's 16562. Okay. Subtract natin. So 12.1 minus, parenthesis, 8.24, 20 plus 1.6562, close parenthesis. Ayan, 2018. Okay, good old times. 2.2018. So that's the mass of your oxygen atom. Diba? Very amazing. Kasi nakuha natin yung mga masses ng elements, no? That is the component of your sample. Okay? So again, the mass of carbon dioxide and the mass of water can be converted to mass of carbon and mass of hydrogen respectively by just using stoichiometry. But if you are asked about the mass of the oxygen, you just simply subtract it from your sample mass. Ganun lang ka-easy. Okay? So now, what's next? Nakuha na natin yung mga masses nila. Now, we can proceed to get their empirical formula. Ako, just for for better organization of our solution, I always ask my student to make a table. Kaya, tignan nyo yung worksheet natin. May tables dyan. Ganito kasi pinapagawa ko sa mga bata. Okay? So, I always tell them to write a table like this. Okay? And actually, pwede ito i-Excel. Okay? I-Excel ko na lang. Kasi nagugutom na rin ako eh. So let me do it in Excel na lang, but I will tell you kung paano siya gagawin. So that kunwari nag-quiz tayo, di ba may solutions doon? Pwede kayong mag-Excel. Kasi limited yung time ninyo eh. kayo na bahala gumamit ng kung anong available na technology maliban sa sagot ng kaklase. Okay. So, ganito pinapagawa ko sa students ko na. Although syempre, sulat kamay. Syempre face to face yun eh. Okay. So this is what I tell them to do. Palitan ko yung Calibri. I don't know, but I hate Calibri. Ako lang ba? Parang hindi ko feel yung font na yan. Let's write the elements CHO. And then their corresponding masses. Okay, so for carbon, that's 8.2420. For oxygen, that's 1.6562. Then for oxygen, that's 2.2018. Okay. Now, for the molar mass, try ko nga. Wala. Nakita kasi akong parang tool siya sa Excel wherein siya na yung bahala sa elements. Sa TikTok ko yung nakita pero hindi ko maalala. Basta lang ko merong element dito na pwede madagdag Anyway, so for the molar mass, carbon is 12.011, hydrogen is 1.008, oxygen is 15.999. Okay? Default na yan, okay? How will you get the mole? That is, mass over molar mass, di ba? This is mass divided by molar mass. Okay, so always remember that. Okay, so that's mass over molar mass. So to get the moles, you just simply divide the mass divided by the molar mass. Okay? And those are the corresponding moles. In Excel ko na para mabilisan ha. Pwede nyo rin to gawin sa exam. Especially nagmamadali kayo. Kasi alam ko kukulangin kayo sa time. So as much as possible, kung kaya naman ni Excel, edi that's better. Kaysa naman pag manual ko kayo, di ba? Baka ma-stress kayo lalo. But you have to upload the picture of this Excel. Okay? Kunwari, ito yung quiz question. You just take a screenshot. And then, yun yung i-upload mo to. Together with the handwritten solution. Yung handwritten solution, ito yun. Yung mga molar, yung mga masses. And then, ito na yung step 2. Kahit Excel mo na lang. Okay? So ako, when you get the moles, what I always tell them is to at least round it off to 2 decimal places. O kaya 4 decimal places na lang. Okay? So round off nyo na lang 4 decimal places. And for reduced mole, what is a reduced mole? Basically, in a reduced mole, you are going to divide the moles by the lowest number. Kaya tawag ko doon reduced mole. Yung mole, i-reduce mo pa. Okay? So, paano yun? So, you just press equal sign. Okay? So, this mole will be divided by the smallest mole. Ano yung smallest mole dito? Obviously, itong 1376, right? So, I will divide it by 0.1376. Yun yung akin smallest mole Diba? Okay, and then I always tell my student to round this up to 2 decimal places. Okay? So again, itong moles 4 decimal places yan. Ito 2 decimal places. So again, when I say reduce mole, divide by the smallest mole. Divide by smallest. So yan yung gagawin niya. Ayan. So the smallest mole is 0.137. So I divided everything by 0.137, even itself. Now, the reduced mole can actually give you the subscript. If ang reduced mole mo ay 9 na yung katabi, let's say 4.9, you round it off to the whole number. Okay? So this will be 5, this will be 12, and this will be 1. Meaning that your empirical formula for the compound methyl tert-butyl ether is C5H12O. Eh, di ba ito yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina? C5H12O. Do you still remember? Di ba nag-drawing ako ng ng methyl tert-butyl. Diba? So ito yun eh. If you still recall your org-chem, no? So yan. Okay? So you have 5 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ito mga methyl yan. So times 3 yung hydrogen. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay? And isang oxygen. You were able to get the correct formula. Okay? Yun lang. Ganun lang siya ka-simple. Okay. Ano nga lang yung mga tips ko para sa inyo. Okay? So, ako, sabi ko nga sa inyo, pagdating na dito sa ganitong table, kahit i-excel nyo, that's fine with me. Okay? It's not really cheating kasi kulang na kayo sa time eh, 'di ba? So, pahirapan nyo pa sarili nyo. Pwede naman mag-excel. Okay? So, I will allow you to do this. Okay? And then, just make sure na kailangan yung mga moles naka-correct equation. So, that's mass over molar mass. Reduce mole. Just divide everything by the smallest moles na. And the subscript is just rounded off reduced moles. Okay? However, it is not always 0.9. Okay? It's not always 0.9. Let me show you some examples. Meron ba akong example? Hindi ko maalala kung nasa yung example. Wala pala dito. Okay. So anyway, binigay ko naman yung tip dito. So, it's not always 0.9. Okay? Because there are some variation. Sometimes the decimal is 0.25. For example, 1.25. What you will do? Okay. If you have 1.25 in one of the decimals, you have to multiply all the reduced moles by 4. Okay? So you have to multiply everything by 4. Teka lang, bakit kaya ganyan yung sagot ko? Mali ata ako ng kopya dito. Pero ito tama to. So 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 125 times 4 is 5. Okay? So, saan galing to? Oo nga, no? Pare-parehas sila doon. Ito. Okay, so anyway. So, ayan na. So, by multiplying everything by 0.25, you get whole number subscript. What if naman 0.33? Let's say. If yan ay 0.33, multiply everything by 3. Okay? And then, magiging 3.9 yung isa dyan. So, you round it off to 4. Okay? Basta again, pag 0.9, whole number na agad dapat. But if yan ay 0.25, you multiply everything by 4. And that's 0.33, you multiply everything by 3. And then if yan ay 0.5, you multiply everything by 2. Okay? So, ganun yung mga technique na ginagawa dyan. Okay? Well, lucky for us, in our calculation, we are able to get 0.9. Okay? But again, minsan may 0.25, that's my 0.3. Okay? So, yan. Yun yung akin tip. Okay? So, ganun lang. Ganun lang siya, ganun lang siya, na very straightforward calculation. Okay? Again, in formula determination, basically, you just determine the masses of each element. Carbon and hydrogen can be obtained using stoic. Oxygen can be obtained by subtracting the mass of carbon and hydrogen from the sample. And then to get the empirical formula, you just need to create this table. I will allow you to work with Excel. Okay? Kaya nga tinuturo namin sa inyo Excel para magamit nyo naman. And then, at least dito, pindot-pindot na lang, you will get the answer. And then when it comes to reduced moles, there are three possible outcomes. Pag 0.9, edi diretso whole number na siya. Pero, there are cases na 0.3 siya. So, kapag 0.3, multiply everything by 3. 0.25, multiply everything by 4. And pag 0.5, multiply everything by 2. Siguro nag-iisip kaya na, possible po ba may 0.25 pati may 0.3? Never encountered. I never encountered such thing. So, yeah, you don't really have to worry that much, okay? Sige. Baka isipin nyo kasi, sir, paano kapag 0.3, tas may 0.25? Wala pa ako na-encounter na ganun. Promise. Okay? So, sometimes, okay na yan. Huwag na masyado i-overthink. Okay? So, that ends our chapter 3 discussion. Wow. Tapos na ang chapter 3. That's gravimetry. Do you have question or okay na? Baka na-overwhelmed kayo. Okay. Don't worry, since we are done with the discussions, this Thursday, wala tayong pasok. Okay? So, use your Thursday as extra time to answer yung quiz 2 natin, which will be opened by Thursday to Saturday. Okay? So, wala tayong pasok sa Thursday, and then sa Friday, wala talagang pasok yun because it's EDSA Revolution Anniversary. Okay? Ano pa ba? So, use the time na lang sa Thursday to deal with experiment. Again, I posted the guide here in announcement. So, itong updated. Ayan. So, you just check this out. No? And then the video, andito na siya. So, you can see parehas yung kulay ng damit ko dito sa damit ko ngayon. Kasi kaninang madaling araw ko lang natapos yung recording. Okay. This is the Excel file. No? So, yan. Just answer that. Use the data I presented here for your reference. And then, ito yung mga data na kukunin nyo. And ito yung equations. Okay? Okay, so I guess that's everything. Again, one representative will submit the paper. Pwede naman more than one yung gumawa ng experiment, especially if you have materials naman. That's accepted. That's welcome. Okay? Pero just isa lang yung data na ipapresent nyo at the end. Okay? Pagandahan na lang ng results. So, ayan. And next week, we will have a quiz, no? May quiz tayo about gravimetry next week. Medyo tuloy-tuloy na tayo. Okay. Remind ko lang ha, kasi next week, March na. The following week, in the next 3 weeks, midterm exam na. Ang bilis na. Midterms agad. My God. Okay. So next week, andito na tayo March na And then, ito, on week na to, anong week yan? Okay. So on week 8, we are planning to do the discussion asynchronously. So ako magre-record ako ng video, both for lecture and lab. Okay, that is open for everyone. Okay. Pero may discussion tayo ng may discussion tayong chapter 4 next week. We will just schedule this week to be asynchronous para naman mas control nyo yung time nyo. Okay? Just like last year, di ba? Week before exam, nag-asynchronous tayo lahat. Okay? So, just be reminded of the schedule na lang. So, I wish you all the best. And with that, thank you for listening to our session today. I hope you learned something. And yun, I'll see you next week. Na Thursday, wala tayong pasok. Okay? Bye-bye. Ingat and let's have our lunch na. Okay? Ay, 1:30 na pala. Sige, bye-bye. Ingat.
Thank you po.
Bye-bye.